What's up everyone, David here, welcome to another video. So today here at the studio was testing day. I was testing some new hardware, some new software, and I realized that I never tested two plugins that I had sitting here that emulate the same hardware unit. And it's that one unit that none other than Serban Ghenea has been using pretty much on all these mixes for ages. The unit in question was the now infamous SPL Machine Head that has been modeled first by Metric Halo Make Believe Studio, and now also by SPL. So we got two of the same but different. How different are they? Let's find out in this video. Let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixBest TV. Hope you guys are having a great day. Before we start, as usual, check the info box down below for free plugin special offers, discounts, and of course links to both the plugin Machine Head, Mix Head. If you want to book mix and mastering with me, go to the new website mixbesttv.com. In there you can find all the mix and mastering courses as well, book private lessons, mix consultations, and a lot more. If you want to access the exclusive library of in-depth mix and mastering videos here on YouTube, click the join button, become a MixBest TV member, access the library, and get all the perks. And if the videos are helping you, please consider using the super thanks or grab some merch. Let's get to the video. All right, we have them here in all their glory. On top we have the SPL Machine Head, and at the bottom we have the Make Believe Studio Mix Head. They both look pretty much like the original hardware, with the SPL having a little more photorealistic faceplate if you want. They both have pretty much the same basic control with some differences we're gonna see. They both have the LCD-like screen here, a little clearer. The SPL probably a little more accurate than Metric Halo, because the screens in the 90s weren't that clear to begin with. Here we have information of the value of the four knobs that we have: input gain, drive, high frequency adjust, output gain. Both of them have a tape speed button called high tape speed on the SPL and tape speed on the Make Believe, but two settings for the SPL, 30 and 15, while the Make Believe has 30, 3.75 and 15, so one more settings. Then we have an active button for both, which is basically a bypass, but the SPL has three presets that you can recall from the front panel right here: input level, drive level, output level, and power button for both. But the SPL has two versions, an original and an ultimate. And the ultimate is basically an improvement, so to speak, on the original algorithm, on the calculation. I read the manual a little bit, and it explains that when the unit was made, there were limitations. For example, CPU usage, right? The original machine also only supported 44.1 and 48, and now we have a need for higher sample rate. There was a, so to speak, problem with a bottleneck when the original unit was coded that was going from floating point to fixed point. Anyway, the ultimate is basically Machine Head without the limitation, the computing limitation of the 90s, of that era. And so the emulation of the tape machine that was emulated at the time should be more accurate. But for this test, although we are going to take a listen to the ultimate as well, I really want to compare the original versus the original. And if it wasn't clear, Machine Head, Mix Head was a digital unit that was supposed to emulate a tape machine, one of the first one. And the controls are very simple: input and output, how much drive, and an HF adjuster, so an emphasis if you want more or less top end due to the roll-off of the tape. In the ultimate version of the SPL, we also have a low frequency adjust in addition to the high frequency adjust, and the output volume is right here. But we're going to compare the originals. Now, to compare the two, what I did is I copied these tracks here that I have just to test things, and I noticed right away a little issue with the SPL. In fact, the SPL has 72 samples of delay, as you can see here, while the Make Believe has 8. The problem that I found is that if I bypass both plugins and I play them together and I add a trim plugin just to flip the phase of one of the two tracks, they should know, because the plugins are bypassed, but they're not. This is what happens. And how do I know that is the SPL? Well, it's simple, because if I make inactive the Metric Halo, I still have the phasing sound. If I make inactive the SPL, they know. All right, so what's happening here? My wild guess is that when you bypass the SPL doesn't send to Pro Tools the correct amount of information on the latency so Pro Tools can compensate. Basically, when you bypass it, you also bypass the latency. In fact, if I nudge forward the track where the SPL is of 72 samples, which I've already calculated and put a marker in there, they do null. Silence completely, all right? If I put it back right in sync with the other, as it was before, we have the phase sound. Back again, and we have null, okay? So I notice also that if I go and put everything at unity, 0 input gain, 0 drive, 0 output, 0 adjust, and of course I still have the trim on one track with inverted phase, this is what we get. Almost null, right? If I bypass them again, we have the phase issue. So the problem with the delay compensation only happens when the SPL is bypassed. So maybe SPL can look into it and fix it, but this is already telling us a lot. This is the difference between the two. This is how close they are. If we take a look at the residue, let me make this smaller. We don't need to have it giant here. This is what we have left. What we can hear is basically the transient of the drum. The distortion is slightly different, but right off the bat, I was not expecting for them to be so close. And I never tried the original unit, so I don't know how close they are to the hardware, which is again a digital unit, it's not an analog unit. But I know from many great engineers that I trust, engineers that are friends with Serban, that the plugin apparently specifically his settings, which in the Make Believe studio are one preset called Serban Ghenea, the one, are spot on. So with this as a baseline, I'm gonna start tweaking knobs and pushing more or less and see how they respond, and if the differences between the two changes more or less based on the settings. And I'm gonna start with Serban settings, which are called the one, and for this one alone, Make Believe GUI turns gold, and we can make it a little bigger here. And I'm gonna copy the settings on the SPL. So first of all, let's hear how Serban preset sound. This is without. There's a nice push. There's definitely a little more low mids weight at the bottom. There's this +1 HF adjust to compensate for the roll off of the tape emulation. And it's not night and day, but it's a nice drive. Notice the input gain is -2. This specific presets, of course, is set to how hard Serban hits the machine, and you obviously have the same exact level. But considering this is on the entire mix, this is a subtle yet noticeable difference. And we're gonna try on other things, but I wanna try to copy the settings of Serban preset on the SPL and see how different they are. We have a baseline, which is the default setting. So we have input at -2. We have output at 1.2 plus. We have drive at 1.6, tape speed at 15, and the high frequency adjust is at 1. We have again the invert phase on the SPL, and let's see how they sound together. What kind of difference? There's definitely more difference, right? There's definitely more difference. I'm gonna go back and put everything to 0 again really quick. Just double click on it. And here again. Yeah, there's definitely more difference with this specific preset. So it's a safe guess to say that the differences are going to be dynamic and change based on the settings. So this is again a -2, 1.6, 1.2, 15, and 1. And again, before hearing them without the phase cancellation one after the other, I want to show you something else that I found out. I have this drum roll here in this song, and without the plugins, peaks at -4. If I engage them and I reset, they now peak at -1.1 and -1. There's 1 cent of a dB. So they are very, very similar. And also this tells me this, that the default setting is already basically making me gain 2 dB almost of headroom on any given material. So let's listen to the difference. That's default. All right, this is what I hear. Default settings, clearly, the Make Believe definitely feels either more rolled off at the top, or the SPL is brighter at the top, or less rolled off, or the Make Believe has more low end bump compared to the SPL. So in short, the Make Believe seems a little, we want to say warmer, a little bigger at the bottom, but at the expenses of a less open sound to the top end, while the SPL feels a little more hi-fi. The Make Believe feels a little more colored. There's also a little more saturation, which I think is exactly what we heard in the inverted phase examples at the beginning. The crunchy clicks that we heard, I feel it's the mix head having more saturation or a different type of saturation compared to the machine head, which seems a little cleaner and a little more hi-fi. Now I want to hear the one and the differences on the song. We start bypass, but with the SPL. Same, if anything, the difference is it feels a little more of the same. So slightly brighter the SPL, bigger bottom of the Make Believe, really nice sound on both, I like it. Let's try to change some settings from here. So we go tape speed 30 and tape speed 30 for the 2. Okay, interesting. So I pushed the HF adjust on the mix head to try to see if I could compensate or match the top end of the SPL, and it sounds different. It just sounds different. Top end of the mix head is dynamic in some sort, but I still can't match it. I am sure that I could push the HF even more. It just doesn't sound the same. It sounds like the mix head does something to the top end, like some sort of dynamic limiting. But even if we are close tone-wise with the top end by pushing a little more the HF adjust, the mix head still has a bigger bottom and a little more dense saturation in the low mids and lows. That's very interesting. I want to change song and try something with a really big low end.
Sunshine on this side of town. You could get lost and never be found. is tainted. Should've been out by now, running out of patience, losing my mind now. Feel like I gotta watch my back, I'm in danger. Used to be homie, some changed up, hard working, now they say look, just caked up. I made up my mind. No sunshine on this side of town. You could get lost.
Interesting. So you hear that in a song like this, where we don't have that much energy in the mid-range and the high mid-range because we don't have electric guitars. And the other song was literally guitar driven, so all the power was there. The differences are more subtle here, and I could possibly get to a point of matching pretty well that top end. The low end though,
Ain't no sunshine on this side of town. Ain't no sunshine on this side of town. You could get lost and never be found. Fuck it, I'ma ride out till my fucking time's out, so I gotta make it.
this is what I hear. It's actually more apparent on my small monitors than the big mains, because when you start hearing 30 cycles and 26, 8, whatever, it kind of masks the difference. But on my small monitor, it's funny because it's more apparent and the low end feels slightly more powerful on the mix head. It feels like the saturation is slightly more, I don't want to use the term aggressive because it's not distortion, and I don't want people to think that it makes it dirty, because it's still clean as hell, even on my mains, like down to ground zero. But it kind of feels like it translates a little better on the small speakers, this 808 kick combination here. The SPL feels kind of slightly lighter. I need to listen to literally the same 3 kick drums, and I know this is gonna be annoying, but
You could get lost and never. You could get lost and never. You could get lost and never.
yep. So it's funny, on the small speakers, the SPL feels slightly more punchy though. So I think we are trading a little bit of transient smoothing, even though we've seen with the drive, with the settings that we had before, we were kind of shaving off the same amount on nominal gain. The SPL is a little more punchy on the transient, and the mix head feels a little bigger at the bottom. And bigger as in, it seems to translate better on smaller speakers, because as I go bigger and bigger and bigger up to my mains, the low end is pretty much the same, but on the small speakers, there is this difference where the SPL punches a little more and the mix head feels a little rounder and slightly bigger at the bottom, at the expenses probably of some punchiness. That's pretty interesting. I'm gonna drive them harder. I'm gonna go 4, 5. What is the max? 14. Let's do halfway. 7 for the drive, and I'm not changing anything else. And I'm gonna put the adjust to 0 to match the SPL. Let's hear it.
You could get lost and never be found. Fuck it, I'ma ride out till my fucking time's out, so I gotta make it. It's do or die now, and my soul is tainted. Should've been out by now, running out of patience, losing my mind now. Feel like I gotta watch my back, I'm in danger. Used to be homie, some changed up, hard working, now they say look, just caked up. I made up my mind, I gotta get the bag. Shorty, I am not the one, so don't you get attached. And where I am from, it's like we never had. So if I gotta split, then I get the better half. And I just paint the picture, and I ain't never rap.
Yeah, clear as day. It feels like the mix head has a little rounder, bigger bottom end, especially with the 15 speed, and the SPL is a little more open at the top. You can actually, it's funny because you can hear where the mix head grabs when there's only the vocals.
I made up my mind, I gotta get the bag. Shorty, I am not the one, so don't you get attached. And where I made up my mind, I gotta get the bag. Shorty, I am not the one, so don't you get attached. And where I made up my mind, I gotta get the bag. Shorty, I am not the one, so don't you get attached.
Especially the word bag, you can hear the mix head to help you visualize. If these were EQs and we had a shelf at 50 corner frequency, the mix head feels like the slope falls down to 200 or 250 even. And the SPL feels like it's a steeper slope that would grab top 140, 160, all right? Let's hear it again.
I made up my mind, I gotta get the bag. Shorty, I am not the one, so don't you get attached. And where I made up my mind, I gotta get the bag. Shorty, I am not the one, so don't you get attached.
All right, let's try another track, and then I want to try the ultimate on the SPL.
His skin's so brown and it flows like chocolate. He always has his swag right on. Hey Girani, I'm the girl on the second floor. Hey Girani, and I would like to know you more. Hey Girani, I'm the girl on the second floor. Hey Girani, I'm just afraid to let it show. He walks on past and I can't help but stare. His scent, oh, fills the air. Can't help this glare, I wish he wasn't there. 'Cause now my heart is in.
I kind of like the mix head roll off. I kind of like it. I want to try to HF adjust too much to feel the differences in this high-end boost that both have.
His skin's so brown and it flows like chocolate. He always has his swag right on. Hey Girani, I'm the girl on the second floor. Hey Girani, and I would like to know you more. Hey Girani, I'm the girl on the second floor. Hey Girani, I'm just afraid to let it show.
It seems like, again, the mix head has a slightly more saturation than the SPL, and the top end boost, the HF adjust, seems to grab a little more, while the top end feels almost higher, again, to give the same parallel if we had a shelf, if these were EQs. Let me try to roll off.
The red, gold and green banners, I'm gonna give a damn. If them a critic or a scanner, yo, me touch the road, I hail the warrior upon the corner. The city street, house, land, the countryside farmer. When I live by the code and them not disrespect the other. No fool could have violate the border when.
Yeah, it continues the same difference, even with the HF adjust at -6, so we're kind of adjusting negative for a lot. The SPL still feels it's got a little more top end, but I kind of like the roll off on the mix head better. For some reason, it seems, yes, less open, as in less extended at the top, but it feels also like it's got some kind of different energy in the money range, in the mid range, if that makes sense. If I had to pick one, it would probably be the mix head, because I feel in a way is more similar to what I like my 542s, the low end, the tape bump. It's closer to that. It's a sound that I like, that I'm more familiar. Again, it's not night and day. I just want to quickly hear the difference between original and ultimate, just the SPL.
Man pants will break it so you can. Hate to if you wanna. Yet for manifest the works that I live is still gonna. Have to rise up the red, gold and green banners, I'm gonna give a damn. If them a critic or a scanner, yo, me touch the road, I hail the warrior upon the corner. The city street, house, land, the countryside farmer. When I live by the code and them not disrespect the other. No fool could have violate the border, we know what's them brother. In a no mud, me nah go walla. No beg them, no friends about, cause them me nah go follow. Them a the done, but last time man stand taller. Some of the red eye when them drinks, so them a the big time baller, yo. I coulda hold me man, I coulda sneak.
It seems the ultimate a little more modern, so to speak. Again, even more extended bandwidth, even more top end. I want something more mellow to try it really quick.
You gave me
Yeah, clear as day. The Ultimate feels more polite, if that makes sense. Is a lot more hi-fi, feels like extended top end. I want to say maybe a less obvious saturation, and I'm driving a 4, which is darn high, especially for a mix. Seems like a little, I don't want to say more forgiving saturation, it just feels less aggressive than the original. It's a good option to have on the SPL. I like the original better, and I like the mix head slightly better. And that's it for the video. I was here testing, so why not test things together? I hope you guys liked the video. Let me know if you have questions in the comments down below. Leave a comment if you liked the video. Don't forget to leave a like. If you want to book mix and mastering with me, again, go to the website mixbustv.com. In there you can find all the mix and mastering courses as well. If you want to access the exclusive library of in-depth mix and mastering videos here on YouTube, click the join button, become a MixBustV member, get all the perks. And if the videos are helping you, please consider supporting the channel by using the super thanks or grab some merch. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay safe. See you next time.